Hello, everybody. So, Instagram, I know I am on Upset the Gram, but um, we were supposed to go live on my account, but because my account is so new, Instagram is not letting me be great. They are not letting me be great. So, for those of you that were waiting to go on Instagram live at Mentor Jew, um, they are, it's just, it locked me out. It told me I'm not ready for the big leagues yet. I'm not ready. That's what they told me. And so they said, you got to go and be on your hubby's account and you got to grow your own wings. You just got to, you got to grow up a little bit more. So we're here and we're going to go live from Timmy's account tonight. So hi, everybody. So here's what's funny. Timmy is learning all the Spanish, and so he has all of his things in Espanol. So I'm going to try to interpret all the things that I'm supposed to do.
Is it in Spanish?
No, it's good, it's good. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to be here. We are going to meet our mentors. And so we have them coming in. I think they're going to jump on in a minute. But hi, everybody. I'm so glad to see you guys. Yay, how fun. Hope you guys are doing, what are you guys doing tonight? Let me see, what is this? This is Thursday. This is Thursday. So we are going to come in here and we are going to talk about our mentors. And what I was going to do on my baby channel, that's what I'm going to call it, my baby channel. Tim's laughing at me. Yeah, we're gonna meet some mentors tonight. And I'm just gonna talk to you guys. And we're gonna talk about some things. So if you guys are down, I'm here to be with you. And let's do a little chat, okay? You sitting at home, I am too. Filling out the mentor you. I love it. I love it. I love you guys. I love you guys. Can I tell you guys something? I am so excited to be on Instagram. I'm hyped. Like, I'm so excited. And I've been thinking about what are some of the things we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about stuff. A lot of good stuff. And so I'm just so looking forward to it. And you guys are awesome. This is going to be fun. And this is just going to be a whole new world that I am super happy to embrace. So, yes, I am hyped. Okay, so what we were doing, I'm so hijacking Timmy's Upset the Gram, but what we are doing is I was going to introduce the first night of our Meet Your Mentor week. And so, can you text her back? And we, like I said, got hijacked. It just didn't let me have my big girl account to go live because probably it's so new, but we're just going to do it here. So I hope you guys hang out with me, and I just want you guys to meet some of the people that I know and that I love, and that we just gonna walk through life together. And so I'm here to walk through life with you, and I am so excited. And I just want to say thank you all so much. You have you guys have just sent such an outpouring of love ever since I made the announcement of the new platform and all the work. And I just want to thank you guys. You all are so kind. All the sweet DMs, all the messenger posts and everything. So just thank you. Thank you so much. So, okay, well, let's get into it. I think, we're going to join in. Let's see. There he is. Is that right? Did I do that right? That's it. All right. So my sunny bun is here. Oh,
Yo.
no. There they go. Yay. Look, I had to have my help.
Hi.
So, well, guys, we have Meet Your Mentor Week, and I am, somebody said I'm loving the Juliet takeover. Oh, I love it. So this is Meet Your Mentor Week, and this is night one, and I just wanted to introduce you guys to some of our amazing mentors. And You may not know them personally, but I promise you, they are amazing. And they have so much to share. They have so much to give. They've lived a lot of life. And they are like, we're going to share it with them because we all got to walk through life together, right? And so our stories, maybe something we say and something that we do could help you in any way. If it can shave off some time, if it can shave off some stress, if it can shave off any sort of unnecessary weight that's burdening you down in your life, that's what we want. It's like, how can we make your life better? And I can't do it by myself, but I found some great people that I know deeply that I've walked through life with. I've walked through life with Dr. Sarai, who she's on here. I've walked through life with Rory. For goodness, Rory, over 20 years. Uh-oh, it seems like Rory is frozen. So everybody, I want to introduce you all to Dr. Sarai Crain. There's Rory. He's
Yeah,
back.
drop me out. Yeah, it kicked me
Yeah,
out for whatever
okay.
reason.
There he is. He's back. All right. And I was telling them that I've known you for over 20 years.
Yes,
And
it's been close to 20 years
yeah,
almost.
yeah, we have walked through all manner of life together. And Dr. Sarai. And okay, they're doing something, guys. They are doing all kinds of technical things. And hold on one second. Oh my goodness. Timmy, you have everything in Spanish. So no one can understand anything, my love.
No comprende?
No comprende. Okay, so guys, anyway, so this is Meet Your Mentor Week, and I wanted you guys to meet some of the mentors. And so here we've got Rory. I wanted to start with you. I want to introduce you all to Rory Rodgers. Rory is a amazing, he is, I mean, I call him my brother. He is just my brother. And he has been a most amazing brother in my life for many years, over 20 years. And what, Rory, we all kinds of things before, after marriage, in between, second marriage, you know what I mean? Kids, watching kids grow up. Now they graduating.
Listen.
Lots of things, lots of life, single parenting, married. And Rory has just been an amazing man, and he helps people. He helps other men just walk through life, just to get guidance. And Dr. Sarai Crain, who's here tonight, we're going to talk with her a little bit more. Her whole experience and what she does, we're going to get into it. She is and talks about survivors of sexual trauma and abuse. And so for anyone that you know that has dealt with that, I'd love for you to invite them in because she is so amazing. When we get to her, she's going to tell you what she does. I mean, she is the bomb.com, guys, and she is one of our mentors. And she's going to walk you through life. She's going to walk you through how to get past it post-trauma, how to get past it post-experience, how to heal, and how to get to where she is, and how to succeed after that.
Yes.
How do you live and succeed in life and going through such a pivotal time? So I want to introduce you, but Rory, I want to start with you first.
Yep.
I have such a heart for the women, and I have such a heart for the men. You know, I've done men's hair for 30 years, and 30 years, and we're just 32 and holding, huh? We've been 32 and holding for a long time, and we're sticking to it, everybody. We are sticking to it. And so, Rory, I just want to talk to you right now, and I just want them to know a little bit more about you, who you are, what you do, and why do you have this amazing passion. He's such an amazing father, y'all. He is such a great dad. He's a great father. He's a tremendous husband. He's been married to my girl, Lynn, for what? Is it 12 years?
No, it's we've been together for 11, been married for 10.
Married for 10. Okay, I was close.
Yep, we just celebrated 10 years this past March.
Past March. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Okay, Rory, tell them a little bit about yourself.
So, I am originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, born and raised. Born in 77, so I'm a 70s baby. Lived in Little Rock till I was 15 with my mom. then moved with my dad, which was around 1993. So parents divorced when I was a toddler, but both of my parents were very active. Again, like I said, stayed with my mom for the first 15 years, then moved with my dad to Dallas for my teenage years. And I've been in Dallas literally ever since 1993. So grew up, my dad was a pastor at the time. So I grew up in a very, in a believer's home, Christian home. So Bible's been in my life all my life. So, so then again, raised up as a PK, a preacher's kid, living life. And so, again, went through all the periods of life, been married, been divorced, been single, been a single dad, married again, second time around, best time around.
Best.
And so now, yeah, so I've, over those years, I've developed a passion for men because as I was growing up and as I was becoming an adult, a lot of things I just did not know. No hit or no knock against my father. You can only teach what you know.
That's right.
And so, so a lot of things I hit the wall with. You kind of bump your head, find out why did I bump my head, and then you keep moving. You know. And so for me, that created a passion to help other men avoid some of the mistakes that I made. A lot of it was due to procrastination, being lazy, not wanting to put in the effort, not wanting to put in the work for things. And so because of that, you know, missed out on a lot of opportunities. A lot of things were delayed in life. But again, the brighter side to that is I know now. And so it's better late than never, you know, is how I have resolved that situation. So it's better late than never. And then again, you know what? It's God's timing.
Yeah,
And so, so even what I know now at 47 years old, I'm able to pass that on to the young men that I come across, even some older men, some peers that are my age and some even older. Because again, everybody's at a different, you know, stage in life. Everybody's at a different learning pace and everything like that. So, you're going to find older men that, you know, just did not learn certain things. You know, some of it is their fault, you know, some of it's their own, you know, from their own hands or not, or whatever. And some of it is just they were not exposed to certain things. And so for that, you know, again, that's why I've learned to just embrace all of that. And be able to have a really good time talking to men, because there's no judgment. I've been in that situation. You know, and so, so yeah, so I just have developed a passion to help men, again, to avoid dumb is what I like to call it, to avoid stupid, you know, and so, and to just be able to get on the right track and get back to having their steps ordered by God. And so, that scripture, Psalms 37:23, God, you know, he orders the steps of the godly. And so that particular scripture has been the foundation that has been that I've put this ministry on.
Rory, do you find it difficult to do you find it difficult as a man to feel like, hey, I like it's hard to find another brother to talk to? Or do you find it hard for men to feel like I don't need, like I don't want no accountability? You know what I mean? Like I don't really need to talk to nobody, and so I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You find that's a common thing, and I get it for sure. I get it.
Yeah, it's a common thing. I dealt with that. One of my mentors, who I cannot, you know, love enough, Tim Ross, you know, your husband, Tim. And so my brother, you know what I'm saying? And so he was the first person that I was another man. He was the first man that I was able to come in contact with and just be open. And that's because he was able to be open. And so with that, I was able to be open and just share a bunch of stuff. I shared a lot of things that I went through as I was maturing and things like that. So we do find it hard to open ourselves up to other men. One, I feel because there's pride, because we feel like I can handle it myself. I can try to figure it out myself. And sometimes that's true. But at the end of the day, life is never meant to be dealt with alone.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so, yeah, so I definitely find it hard, but we have to overcome that pride. We have to
Yeah.
overcome that fear.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there's a fear of, again, is somebody going to find me out? Is somebody going to find my weak spot?
Right.
And so, yes, they are going to find your weak spot. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Find the weak
Yep.
spot so that way that weak spot can be
But
developed.
you know what, Rory, that's really good. But to find a person's weak spot is to find their vulnerable spot.
Absolutely.
And nobody, like, that's the hard place. That's the hard place to go, because when that spot is tender, it doesn't feel good.
No, it
And if
doesn't.
I can hide it or keep it safe, I will. And if I don't want to talk about that weak spot or that tender spot, I'm going to do everything I can to protect it. And I think we realize that the more we feel like we're protecting it, we're actually hurting ourselves more. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, we are. And it's so important, because I think a lot of our men um, would heal faster and more if we just spoke, right?
Absolutely.
So I've done. I love it. It's the first thing I
Yeah.
look at on every man is their hair, because I've been barbering for 30 years, and so but I have to look really fast, because I don't ever want them to think I'm check. I don't ever want their woman to think I'm checking a man out. So I got to be like this, like a 2-second look, and then I'm thinking, can I make that fade tighter? Can I edge them up better? Like I'm constantly thinking, can I do that better? But I got to look really fast. But I'm saying that because um for so many years I've sat men in my chair, and we've just had the absolute best conversations. And I'll tell you why. Anytime you are in, just like a woman, we're particular about our hair, and when you're in a man's hair, that's very intimate space.
Oh, listen,
Very
brother's
intimate.
hair is a
It
sacred ground.
is sacred ground, and so I treasure every time, and I never take it for granted that they let
Yeah,
me in. But the
yeah.
moment that they let me in their hair,
Hmm.
I happen to get in their mind, and then
Face.
get in their heart.
Yeah,
And so over so many years, I've been able to have so many great conversations with men that if you just take the time and talk through it, they'll open up. I think sometimes
yeah.
women don't necessarily know how to talk to men. And I
Hmm.
think other men don't know how to talk to other men, because then we deem it, oh, we don't talk about that. That's,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
make things funny or whatever the case is. And that's not the case at all. Everybody has a heart. You know what I mean? Everybody has a heart.
yeah.
And we can't be dismissing it.
No,
We just can't. And I think we do. And sometimes we carry a lot of shame, and we don't want anybody to know that we have shame, because everybody's a professional presenter, right? Everybody wants to put their best foot forward.
right.
That's just how human nature is. But I tell you what, I think if we can get past that, and if we can get to the point where it's like, I get it, I've been there, I've done that, I've tried that, but I want to live the rest of my life healing. I want to live the rest of my life better. I want to live the rest of my life being above ground. And that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah,
And so it takes sacrifice to go up higher. And
it does.
sometimes the sacrifice is being vulnerable. To your point, the sacrifice
Yeah,
is doing the hard thing.
yeah,
I tell people all the time, God will never ask you to do something impossible. He may ask you to do hard things,
yeah,
but he'll never ask you to do impossible things.
yeah, yeah.
And so what's a hard thing? Yeah, it's being vulnerable, it's sharing the hurt, is sharing any shame, is sharing anything that we keep secret.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
funny you say
yeah,
that. It's funny you say that, Jew, because the Holy Spirit just checked me. And if I can be vulnerable now,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
Holy Spirit checked me last week because I was trying to figure out how to, been working on doing my health. So I suffer from hypertension and high blood pressure. And so I've been on this journey trying to search to find different things. My goal is to not be on medicine anymore.
Right.
And so I've been looking at different things of getting my health, juicing, and all this type of other stuff. And I found myself just kind of being inconsistent with that. And the Holy Spirit told me, you've been avoiding paying the full price.
Mm, wow,
You've
Rory.
been wanting to find the discount. And he just started showing
Wow.
me areas, even with how we want to go to concerts and how we want to go to
Mm,
football games,
Yep.
or different type of events, we're always looking for the hookup. We're always looking for where we can, find a shortcut. Is that a discount on
Right.
clothes? And sometimes we have to pay the full price for things
Yeah.
if we want to experience the full benefit. And that's the
Yes.
thing
Yep.
for me. I'm wanting and have been wanting to pay half price for stuff, to
Wow.
give half effort, but with full benefit.
Mm. Come
Come
On
on.
our jobs,
Come on.
we want the raise, we want the promotion,
Yep.
but we want to do it from the cubicle. We don't want to step
Mm.
outside our little small
Mm.
cubicle or our
Right.
current situation of comfortability
Mm.
to go
Wow.
experience that next level. And
Wow. That's awesome.
so the Holy Spirit was like, you can't do that no more.
Mm.
I played basketball in high school, and I look back and I was like, I should have had my butt on the court during the summertime, but I wanted to work. I wanted to make money. And so the Holy Spirit was just showing me all these different areas in my life, even back as a child.
Yeah.
You never wanted to put the full foot forward.
Yep. Yep. Mm.
You always wanted the light or whatever benefit that came from. We look at Michael Jordan, we look at some of the top athletes.
Yep.
The Bible says we need to train our bodies as the
Yep.
athlete.
Yes. Come on, bro.
The big baller, but we don't want to put in the
Yep.
work on the court. We
Yep.
don't want to put in the behind the scenes work for that.
Wow.
So
Wow. Ooh, that was Rory. That was
Good.
good.
That was good, Roy.
Is good. Wow. Wow.
so yeah, so as men, we have to, this is a good place.
Yeah.
Mentor You University is that behind the
Wow.
scenes work. You
It
have
is.
to
Yeah.
invest in yourself if you want the full benefit of yourself.
That's Rory. That's excellent. That is excellent. That is excellent.
If you want to experience, I'm talking to the men right now, if you want to experience and have your family experience the best of you,
Yep.
the full benefit of you, if you want your ministry to expose and show the full benefit of you,
Yep.
you're going to have to put in the full work.
Yep. You're right.
And so for me, again, I just had to soak. I was just like, Lord, oh, Jesus. Again, the vulnerability, like you
Yeah.
hit the
Yeah.
spot. That was a spot that had to be exposed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Mm.
I can't talk to other men. We can't talk to people
Yeah.
on this platform, Mentor You University. We can't talk to people if we're not willing to be vulnerable and not willing to even talk about our current
100%.
situations.
That was the prerequisite. Like we can't be vulnerable and truly share our imperfections and what work, what we doing, what we not doing. Then there's no point in even doing this. And so Rory, that is excellent. You can't put in half the work. You can't. You just always look at discounts and wanting the full money. Oh,
you can't.
That's good, my guy. That is good. That is so good. And thank you for like just already being vulnerable already. That's what it's all
No,
about.
I can't walk with people. The Bible says we can't walk together unless we agree.
That's right.
And if we're not in agreement, we have to be in agreement that we're both vulnerable.
That's right.
I can't expect, on Steps of a Man, once we get the channel up and running and going, we can't, even with Dr. Crain, we can't as mentors walk people with them through life if we're not willing to put ourselves on the same level.
That's right.
And it's
100%.
not even putting ourselves on the same level. We are on the same level.
That's right.
Yes, we're mentors, but we're also being mentored.
That's 100%, because we haven't all fully arrived. I'm
only 47.
Learning.
Still learning. I'm only 47.
That's right.
There's some things that a 57-year-old, there's some things I'm finding out 20-year-olds can teach me.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be teachable. Yes, that's how you win in life.
Be teachable.
Yep.
You have to be teachable. And there is no age discrimination.
That's right.
There is no, you have to be a certain thing.
That's right.
Dr. Crain is a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
That's right.
But
there's still probably things she don't know.
There's some things she doesn't know. There's some things I don't know.
For sure. We all.
But if we walk together, guess what? We can find out together.
There is there's a Bible scripture that we all know and we all use, and most doctrine and theologists and churches and pastors almost use them all for just a marital context. They use it for this marital context, and it is it's not good for man to be alone. And And to pigeonhole God into just the union of marriage
That's
narrows him down to say that's only for man or woman.
that's
Listen,
right.
it's just not good for man to be alone, meaning people. It's just not good for
Man,
the people to be
woman,
alone.
yes,
We all need each other.
we all do.
We
Yes,
just need each other. And so, in whatever capacity that is. So, that's good, Rory. That's so good. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That was great. Okay. All right. All right. We need to move on. This hour is going to go by quick. But that's awesome. Almost, I just want to keep talking about it. But, well, here's the thing. I want to say that a lot of times, and just since we're talking to the guys, a lot of times they can be quiet because their wound is so deep.
hmm
Their wound is very deep and very bone chilling and very um it shuts them down.
Pass them down.
yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes women, if they're in relationships with men that may not know, that seem quiet or seem like they don't talk, you don't really share his feelings. They sometimes don't understand what to say, how to say, or how to get them to talk.
yeah,
And next thing you know, they're frustrated and then they're yelling and then there's an argument and then they
yeah.
break because he feels like there's no breakthrough.
Been there.
But sometimes we don't understand that they're even numb to the place. They've 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 hid that dark place so deep that they don't even realize that they don't know they can't talk.
Right,
They don't know
right.
what to say. They've lost the word. And I want to just acknowledge that they're not bad just because they're not talking. Sometimes our guys just need help getting it out,
Absolutely.
and maybe we don't always have the right key, and
Yeah,
maybe we're not even always talking in the right key to get it out of them.
They
yeah,
need a safe
And,
place.
yeah, and we got to be a safe place, and sometimes we don't always come across as a safe place because we get so frustrated and we don't know the questions to ask. But sometimes our men who are poised and positioned and feel like they have to be the strength, the
yeah.
rock, the anchor. Man, what do they do when they don't feel like they are the rock or the strength and the anchor, right? And so we got to have some grace with the brothers,
Yeah.
and let them know like there is a place for you. And so we can't do everything for them. They do have to take the step to get
Absolutely,
past it. But
absolutely.
if we can prepare a place for them, if we can present a place to say, hey, you know what? I can see that maybe you know, you're having all these areas. We gotta go to some deeper places and let's see if we can unlock some things in you. And if you are open to being vulnerable and transparent, I promise to be a safe place.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
I promise to be safe, and there's no judgment, there's no shame.
Right.
Let's just walk through life together because I want you to live the rest of your life to be the best of your life.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't have to take another day living the same way. And most people just feel like they're in it by themselves because that's what the enemy does. He just makes you feel like you're in it all alone.
In that
Yeah,
isolation. Yeah.
you're the only one going through this and that nobody understands. And it's
Right.
a lie, and it has bound so many people, so many men and women. Like I can't tell them that. They'll look at me crazy. I won't be uh they just don't look at me the same, or I'll lose my manhood. Like it's um it's so tormenting, and that's the issue.
Deception.
It's so
Yeah.
tormenting. And that's what I just want to provide a place where at the end of the day, you don't have to live in torment no more. You don't have to live in self-torment. You don't have to live in mental torment. And if we can free your mind and just unlock your mind and get you to start talking, that's healing. That's healing that's going to start, and that healing will begin to direct the rest of your life. And I guarantee you, you'll make better decisions. You'll make different decisions. You'll make whole decisions. You'll make healthy decisions for your life when you start getting that stuff out
Love
of
it.
you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Dr.
think
Oh, go ahead.
No,
Go
no,
ahead,
no.
Rory.
I
No,
was
what were you going to say?
just going to say, as soon as we, and I'm going to always reference we because I'm in that same
Yeah,
place. I'm no different. And so, yeah, once we learn that we have a safe place as men, whether
yeah,
it be our wives, whether it be a significant
yeah,
other, whether it be another man,
yeah,
um, once we know that we have a safe place to lay our head,
yeah,
Samson,
yeah,
then we'll be okay.
yeah,
We can
yeah,
begin to
yeah,
talk. You mentioned a wife being able to communicate to her husband that she's a safe place.
yeah,
As soon as that is done, it's on that man to now begin to
yeah,
take advantage
yeah,
of that safe place.
yeah.
Taking advantage means to
That's right.
utilize that safe place. Let her know that what she's doing is
Yeah,
benefiting.
yeah, yeah. That to your point is communicating that what she's saying is working, and if we don't have a safe place, then we got to acknowledge that too. So we got to acknowledge, why don't we have a safe
Yeah,
place,
yeah,
and how can we get one?
exactly,
Because
exactly.
there are people out there that are safe places. So we instead of just kind of hiding into ourselves, we can go and find people that we trust. Like, everybody's not bad, guys. Everybody isn't bad. And so we got to make sure that we're asking ourselves, why am I not trusting? Like, we got to ask ourselves some of the
Yeah,
hard questions.
yeah.
Why don't I trust anybody? Why do I feel like I have to keep this a secret? And I got to say this, I am uber proud of Tim, because he has, hi from South Africa, he has built this platform based on his vulnerability, based on his transparency, and he had to put himself out there. That's why everybody that's on his follows him on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all this kind of stuff, and the preaching that he's done. uh he's put himself out there unashamedly, and yet been very vulnerable. At times he'd come back and be like, oh my gosh, that, like, I feel so naked.
Hmm.
He's come home, it's like, man, I feel so naked. And at the same time would have been like, and I wouldn't take anything back that I said. He felt naked and he felt free. He felt naked and free because he shared.
Yeah,
And he shared, no matter how many times he shared it, his story, he still felt naked, and yet he still felt free. And guess what? It has freed so many people. It has freed so many other men. It has helped so many other men to come forth, to be honest, to be open. And it's our job to do our unpacking of our work. And we can't take responsibility of how the other person is going to handle it. It's
yep,
all
yep.
in how we talk, and it's all in how we communicate. And
Communicate.
yep,
Yep.
it's how we communicate. And so I just want to encourage everybody out there listening, especially my brothers. Like, I promise you, there are people out there. And if you don't know, Rory is one of them. He is one of the greatest men I know. And I'm not saying that he always has been. I always tell him that. He's an amazing man. He's a godly man, and he's real. He's just real deal Holyfield. He's not going to pull any punches, and he's compassionate. You know what I mean? And he's walked through some stuff. And here's the thing, this is what we do. We walk through life together. So, Rory, I could chat about the guys with you all night because I love them. I love them, and I love you. And so thank you so much.
Love you back.
Sarai, the great Dr. Sarai Crain, you are with us. I know
Dr.
you
Crain.
just been enjoying.
I'm just listening.
You're doing great. So everybody, this is Dr. Sarai Crain, and she is goodness, she's just dynamic. She's got her PhD in counseling. She is a pastor. She was a pastor. She is the regional, oh my goodness, what's your title, Sarai? She's she's the boss of California. She's all the way from California, and she runs the whole state of California. If she tells you anything different, she's just trying to show false humility. I'm only kidding. Sarai, let's talk to me. Tell the
All
people.
right. What do you want me to tell them? Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for joining. I saw a couple of friends and loved ones. Thank you for hanging in. What do you want me to say?
Oh my goodness. Sarai is an advocate. She is a representative.
Oh,
And
you want me to talk about what I do?
I was trying to tell you. You know what I
Okay,
mean? Just
cool.
yeah. Uh, go for it.
Happy to do it. I'm happy to be here. Happy to share this space virtually with you, Ju. You know, I love and adore you. Rory, that's my brother. Your baby is my baby. Your family is my family. Both your girls are my babies. I just love them so much. So I feel like I'm with family. I'm bringing you greetings from sunny California. It's just about 6:40 here, so it's still beautiful and light outside. So I'm bringing all the West Side love. I love you all so much. And
It's 8:42 and bright out here still too.
it is, well, here's, let me just say, I was born in Houston,
Come
Texas.
on.
Okay. Grew up in
Come on,
Los Angeles and then
Houston.
I moved to the Bay. So I am Texas and Cali all through and
Let's
through,
go.
which means I struggle with winter weather, but that's another, that's another support group. That's another support group. Because I know a lot of my friends have been relocating to other parts of the country. But at any rate, I'll just say for the sake of time, you know, I feel like ministry is who I am, and it's, you know, and it's what I do. And I've had a really interesting entree to how I arrived to my subject matter expertise, which is around sexual violence and multiple forms of gender-based violence.
Yeah.
Um,
Very
I think
serious stuff.
the Cliff Notes version is that I started as a hotline volunteer, and I was in graduate school, broke. Then I was leading a group, actually of youth at a middle school in Oakland, California, and I was leading this group in a classroom. In the classroom, instructor who allowed me to use her space was going in to be trained as a state certified rape crisis counselor. Now the title is state certified sexual assault counselor. So just out of being nosy, I asked her what she was up to. She told me, and I said, well, I want to do it. And I did it. I made the decision, and it has changed the entire trajectory of my life and ministry.
Wow.
And so when you become a state certified sexual assault counselor, it authorizes you to staff the crisis line, so that if you were to contact the crisis line, that you would be getting intervention and counseling support services from an individual that has been specifically trained to handle sexual violence. It also authorizes you to accompany survivors in the emergency department if or when they are receiving a sexual assault kit, or if they've had, you know, a forensic exam. So if an individual is raped, they have the legal right to have a support person with them when they are providing their forensic interview to law enforcement, or when they're actually receiving the medical exam. And so I became an individual that was going into the emergency department. And my first victim that I went to accompany was a young woman from my church.
Really?
So that's where we see the integration there. And I was horrified by the way that she was treated by individuals that were supposed to be trained, that were clergy. And I was asked to breach confidentiality. I was punished for the fact that I held confidentiality for this survivor. And I think seeing the lack of expertise and the lack of competency, and the lack of spiritual maturity and biblical literacy around issues such as trauma,
Wow.
that it really prompted me to do work around it. So I started talking about it. I was preaching about it. And I will say to this day, it's been 20 years that I have been talking about and addressing sexual violence, and that have taken this issue on. In the last 20 years, anytime I have talked about it, spoken about it, done a conference about it, 100% of the time I get a disclosure.
Wow.
And so it taught me that there were several people statistically that were surviving sexual assault and that had been victimized by sexual trauma, but they were not talking about it within the context of the church. And I'll just speak from my own context, kind of growing up in the Black church, 85% of our pulpits are staffed by men. And conservatively, 70 to 75% of our churches are filled by women.
Wow.
And so if 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 women have been sexually assaulted, and 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 11 men, probability is high that they're experiencing it. But if we're not talking about it, and I'm not talking about just talking about it, I'm talking about denouncing it and renouncing it as sin, then there is a tacit agreement that sexual, violence and that rape culture and that the patriarchy that continues to perpetuate it is okay. And I had a problem with that. And so it made me popular in some spaces, and in some spaces they didn't want to hear me.
Right.
Because one thing about men in ministry, and I love my brothers, but they don't really want to hear what they're not doing right. And unfortunately, many of them have been harmed and have been impacted by violence and gender-based violence in their own lives, but they're not addressing it. They want to preach over it, shout over it. They want to go to the healing line. They want oil dripped all over their head. They want to shabak and holler and do all this and speak in tongues. And then they wake up with the same trauma. And I would see that over and over again. And I'd be like, why is the same person going to every conference? You went to this conference, that conference. You've bought this book. You've done this, fasting calendar. And it's still the same trauma because they're not actually addressing it. But I also feel like, and this is why I come at clergy, because clergy do not give individuals enough the permission to heal outside of the church. That's one of the geniuses and actually one of the richest gifts that Tim Ross has brought to the body, is that he tells people, go to therapy. Jesus and therapy. And I have a very eclectic spiritual background. I did not come up in church. I got saved. And my parents were Black Hebrew Israelites. So I didn't know nothing about Jesus. We didn't do Christmas. We didn't celebrate the resurrection. We didn't know any of that. And actually, when I was 8 years old, my best friend, who I met when I was in the 4th grade, I'm actually in her home right now. I'm not at home right now. Her family is Buddhist. And I'll never forget the first time I heard, chanting in the living room. I'm like, ooh, what's this? I like what they doing in there. And I had no idea. But what it did was it exposed me to different people. And a lot of people, even in the Buddhist tradition, in the Buddhist community, they have come to their conviction around Buddhism because they got walked out of and hollered out of church.
Wow.
And so that's the other thing that has been really important to me, is making spaces safe for individuals that may not have necessarily, we didn't grow up saying first giving honor to God. We didn't know all the church lingo. We don't know all of that.
That's right.
And so we talk about opening the doors of the church, but are we though? Because we're still judging people for what they wear. We still looking at people cross-eyed because of how they talk, how they look, how they smell.
Yeah.
Hello, somebody. The things they do and the people that they're doing it with. And so we're just not making safe spaces. And so I feel like so much of my ministry has been around giving people permission to just be okay in the body that they're in. Yeah. Maybe not having that background. Maybe they have some issues or some things that they lived through that don't seem Christian savory. Right. But are you still going to make space for them? Are they still going to be welcome? Are they still going to be okay? And so I feel like there's been this integration of how doing work and doing ministry outside of the confines of the church has really informed the way that I serve other individuals. And I got to say, I've been deeply humbled by, serving individuals that have been impacted by sexual violence from all types of background. And I'm talking about faith backgrounds. They may have identified along the LGBTQIA plus spectrum. They may, have, been ostracized in their families of origin. And when I tell you the beauty that has radiated from the individuals that the church themselves have ostracized, that they have taught me how to be the hands and feet of Christ. And so I count it a privilege and an honor to be in God's service, to be called into the ministry, and to be continuously invited, into deeper, types of service. And I know people have looked at me and thought, I don't look like a preacher. I don't sound like one. I don't dress like one.
Oh, she's a good one.
And I just don't care because I know that God is using me. And I'll just say, and to answer your question around what I do, it's a tricky question. So my title, I work for the government now. I spent years in nonprofits serving individuals. I was the first executive of color to serve the oldest rape crisis agency in the nation. And I'm the first deputy chief of the city of Oakland that was dedicated to gender-based violence. And then I was the first and have been appointed California's first director of sexual assault evidence for the Office of the Attorney General. Now, I want to go back and say that I spent several years in full-time vocational ministry as an associate pastor. And when it came time for me to finish my dissertation, I felt very disheartened by the lack of urgency that I got from church leadership. So I was serving as a full-time associate pastor, and I tell my board of elders, and if you're on live, God bless you, I'm telling the truth.
Right.
I said, listen, I told the staff, I said, listen, I will train the pastors on how to respond to survivors, because I was doing my research on responding to survivors of sexual assault. And I did a comparative analysis in my dissertation. Research was around looking at sexual violence in the Hebrew Bible and sexual violence in the United States, and doing a comparative analysis. And my hypothesis was essentially that both of them tolerate and perpetuate, and in some cases celebrate, sexual violence against women in particular.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I'm telling my staff, like, listen, I will serve the pastors. It was 17 of us. I was one of 2 females on pastoral staff, the highest credentialed at the time. And I say, look, I'll train all the pastors. I'll do it for free. Let me do it. And I remember one of the pastors, he had 4 daughters, and he said, well, if I have somebody that calls the church that's been raped, I'm gonna just tell them to call you.
Girl,
Got no sense of urgency.
stop it.
My peers and colleagues, I'm like, look, I'm trying to, what I wanted to produce from that body of work was a curriculum for training pastors on how to respond to survivors, and I couldn't get critical mass.
Wow.
So I wrote about that actually in my dissertation. I talked about the fact that I couldn't get buy-in from pastors. Now let me cut pastors a little slack and say,
Wow.
that most pastors, especially if they're pastoring in urban environments, that they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. And again, they don't necessarily want to hear what they're not doing right, because there's going to be enough people criticizing them. So I want to make sure that I'm not coming so hard against pastors. However, if we want to keep coming at women about being toxic, if we want to continue coming at women about how they don't have no man because they don't want to deal with their issues, then why aren't you talking about sexual assault, domestic violence, and sex trafficking and exploitation within the context of your churches? Wow. Every October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. How many people on this live have ever heard a pastor talk about National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October? April is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month. National. How many of us have ever heard a pastor talk about it and celebrate? We'll talk about everything else. We'll take on all these other issues, but we don't want to talk about that. When the very men who are out here beating their women watch somebody beat their own mama. Many of them had somebody tickling and feeling on them too. And so I think that, we have made it okay for, and tolerated this subpar little mention, and we'll do a Women's Day service, one time. I mean, I'm Baptist.
Right.
So I just want to say, I came up, in a tradition. We had Women's Day one Sunday out of the year. Definitely didn't acknowledge, Women's Month. And we definitely didn't talk about men who were, exposed to sexual violence. And we love coming against LGBT, queer and trans folks, and how they're just, the bane of, the church. But we don't talk about how many of them have been victimized, not just in the church, but by members of the church.
Right. And some of them from the leaders.
Come on now. There's a pastor in Oakland, I'm not going to say his name, but we knew for a fact that he had 4 girls pregnant, and we knew that he had raped 3, because I was seeing one of them. And his wife was on Facebook and on social media defending her man. And so, so it's not just the men. It's the women that perpetuate patriarchy, sexism, toxic, beliefs around women. They're anti-Black feminists. They're anti-feminist. They make all these labels. They call feminists wrong, and how somehow it's demonic. I mean, it's just the levels of ignorance. It's just at an all-time high. Yeah. And so I'm grateful for, and this was part of the tangent that I was on in terms of school. When I stepped down, even the day that I submitted my dissertation, I'm exhausted. I got carpal tunnel. My neck is hurting. My back is hurting. Everything's hurting. You remember how fragile I was during that time, Juliet.
Your neck and your back. Yeah.
I was just raggedy. And I remember walking this document. It was a 200-page document. I had to submit 3 copies. And so it's heavy, so I'm walking it in. And I just said, I'm not feeling special. I'm not feeling spiritual. I'm not speaking in tongues. I was exhausted. Yeah. And I walked in those doors, and I'm holding it like this. And I said, Lord, just please let this be a seed for the kingdom.
Yes.
That was my prayer. And I started leading groups in the context of the church that I would meet critical mass. And I actually needed to end up duplicating myself in others and training them, because I couldn't continue to handle all of the individuals that were coming for these groups, these counseling. And some of these individuals that have been in my group, they are my family for life. I'm the godmother to their children. We are sisters.
Of course, honey.
Because we
everybody's
heal
auntie
together.
Yep.
We heal together. Now, one thing I can do is love on you,
That's
especially
right.
within this space. And I think that's why I can talk about it with vigor and excitement and joy,
Yeah.
because I know that when you trust the process, it can work, that you
Yep.
can experience freedom. That doesn't mean, freedom does not mean that you're no longer impacted by
Right.
it. It just doesn't disrupt you in the same ways.
That's
It
right.
just doesn't tear up, tear up your life the way maybe that it did in the
That's
past.
right.
And so I can approach it with joy, and I can approach it with hope, and I can approach it with a level of conviction, because I know I'm a survivor as well.
Yeah.
And I know that when you actually apply the word, you apply God's super on your natural, incredible things can happen.
Come on.
And so I just find it, a gift and a privilege that God has opened these doors for me. And so when I've talked to people who have, said ridiculous things like, are you still doing ministry? I'm like, are you kidding? Only on the statewide level where I'm making policy on the statewide
Come
level.
on.
I mean, if that's
Come
what,
on.
just, I
Yes.
mean, if
That
you'll allow me to
Yes.
talk a little bit, tell me what you want. Do you want me at service for, 30 minutes after church? Or do you want me actually out here trying to change
Correct.
policy,
Correct.
change the way that we're actually
Yes.
doing it, changing the ways that we're training law enforcement and the judicial council and
That's right.
prosecutors and other folks? And how can I get other folks to develop a sense of urgency so that they can be part of the healing work too?
That's right.
So I feel like I've said a ton of things. I don't know
Sure.
if I'll answer your question, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you feel that I may not have addressed.
Girl, I don't have no more questions for you. Just drop the mic. Just drop the mic. That was a bravo. That was
the
awesome.
doctor is in the building.
Yes, honey. The doctor is in. So many times I wanted to stop, pause, cut you off, but then I want you to keep going. That was so great. But that's where the passion comes from, right? That's passion right there. And passionate people make changes.
Yes.
And you need to be where you are. You need to be in government so you can make these changes. That is your ministry. Your ministry is where you are.
And can I just say,
yes, ma'am.
the
Say what
kind
you
of
want.
favor that I have walked in these spaces, it is only God. Like, I'm like, the doors that have opened, the ways that I have been able to sit with and cry with and hold hands with elected officials. I'm talking about legislatures, like from the legislature, elected officials who have a lot of responsibility, and we are walking together, praying together, crying together, and figuring this stuff out. And I'll just say, for my state, for California, there is so much leadership here that is vulnerable, informed, that is trying, that is working hard, and that is open to working with individuals like me. Now, when I was trying to work with these pastors for free.
Don't do it, Sarai. Don't do that.
I'm trying to hold it together.
Don't hurt them.
Because then if I talk about how the ones that tried to hit on me instead of trying to get my intellect, hello, somebody. So I just, I've got a complicated relationship with us. And so I'm trying to help us. Okay? And if you let me get good and honest, I'll do it.
Be any more honest. Wow.
Yes. But it is such a blessing and a privilege to be invited to serve alongside you and the other mentors who I just love and respect and honor so dearly, and also to be trusted to do this work on this platform.
Thank you.
And you'll see those of you that do join and that really sign up to be a part of Mentor University, and that really catch the vision of what's happening. You will see that the offerings are vast. And so you may come in thinking and expecting that you're approaching one thing, but you will notice that there is an opportunity to heal so many different parts of your life and your family.
So
I also think it's important for me to name, since my brother Rory is on here with such a deep conviction of working with men, I want to say to men, if there are folks on here or folks that know other, men who have been impacted by sexual violence, either by themselves or they have a partner or a daughter or a mother or someone within their sphere of influence that has been impacted by sexual violence, we want to hear from you as well, because there's something that's called secondary trauma or vicarious trauma, where we may not have actually embodied the experience of being sexually assaulted, but our lives have been impacted by it.
Yeah.
And so we've been predisposed to hearing it. We've heard all these stories and narratives. And a lot of times in the hearing other people's stories, we get conscious around the things that we have repressed as well.
Right.
And so if that is you, we want to know. We want to know how we can serve you and how we can be better equipped. Do we need to do another group for just the brothers? Because like I said, I absolutely love working with men. Some of the best, most treasured work I've ever done was in the California State Prison, working with men who were on death row.
Wow.
And it was some of the most rewarding, wonderful work I've ever done. But I'm talking about, men that were on death row for violent crimes that never dealt with their mamas getting beat up, that never addressed the fact that they were getting tickled on and touched on when they were kids, that they didn't talk about the ways that they had perpetuated sexual violence before they killed somebody.
That's right.
So my experience is vast. And I feel like at this point, one of the things about having so much experience and clocking so many hours of working with individuals that have been harmed by sexual trauma and violence is that there's not much that I haven't heard, which means that I really easily create shame-free zones.
Yeah, for sure.
I always tell people, it doesn't count when you're talking to me, because there's no shame when you're talking to me. I want you as vulnerable and as naked, which clothes on now? Which clothes on? As vulnerable and naked as possible, because I feel like it has been a gift and a skill that God has allowed me to have to hold really hard stuff. Really hard stuff. I mean, people have come out to me. People have disclosed their HIV status to me, have disclosed their sexual assault and violence. They've disclosed their perpetration. And the shame-free, being able to offer and provide shame-free space is half of the healing in and of itself. So again, I want to be mindful of time, but I just wanted to make sure that I did have a chance to say that and to make a plug for individuals that, you're just on here snooping. Maybe you're a little bit curious about what Mentor University is about. And I'm telling you, it is about healing. And healing is one of those words that's been co-opted and we use it in so many different,
so blanketed and
we just use it in so many different ways. But we want to take our time. And I'm making a promise and a vow to you that I will take my time. We will dig in and we'll get vertical. We're going to go deep.
So
and really looking forward to that. So there's my
girl. That's awesome. I don't even, girl, you just keep on talking. I'm just sitting here enjoying you and Rory, but I've had the privilege to enjoy y'all for years.
Yes.
I have had the privilege to have these conversations with you guys for years, and y'all have so much gold inside of you. And that's why I was like, I have to share. Share the wealth of knowledge that is inside of you to others who also need it. And I gleaned from Rory, I have gleaned from Sarai, I have learned from them. It doesn't matter what we've done, we are teachable. And we have walked through life together. And so that's why I said I want to introduce you all to you all who don't know them. Look at the wealth of wisdom that's right in front of you, that's right on this screen. These are some of the people that you're learning by name now, but I've known them by heart, mind, and soul for years. And they have so much gold inside of them that they are to give to you. And so I'm so grateful that you all are a part. Y'all jumped on board with, I started to share the vision, and then y'all were like, I'm in. What do you got to entertain what you're saying? Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely.
Don't even finish
it for free in a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, that's what she told me. And she is doing it for free in a bag of Doritos. I'm kidding. I'm only kidding. But they're such gifts to me. They're priceless treasures. And I want to share them with you because I know that they will be such a wealth to your life, to your nieces, to your graduates, to your dads, to your uncles, to your brothers, your cousins. And I'm sure we are all separated by 6 degrees of separation at the least.
Absolutely.
And I know that everybody knows somebody. We are affected by these topics alone.
Yes.
Okay. broken men and broken women by our neighbors, our families, our moms, our sisters. We've lost people in our
That's
lives due
right.
to we've
That's
lost
right.
people in our lives due to shame. We've lost people in our lives due to isolation and not having somebody to talk to. And I don't want that to be you. I don't want that to be your family member. I don't want um, that to be anybody that you know.
Yeah.
And then we look back after the deed is done and it's too late and say, oh, we should have.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't see the signs, because sometimes we don't see the signs. So let's make sure that we are staying a step ahead. Let's stay a step ahead. Let's be mindful. Let's check on people. All
Yeah.
right. That's why I'm building this platform. There's people there to be with you, hold you accountable, and walk you through life. We're right here. And this is just night one. And I'm just so thankful. I know I hijacked Tim's account tonight because they wouldn't let me be great on mentor_Jew, but we'll try again tomorrow.
Yes.
And if not, I'm going to hijack his account tomorrow. So, but I just want to thank you guys. I guess before I go, are y'all down for a quick, like, anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions for Sarai or Rory? Do y'all want to say anything to them?
I'm happy to.
Okay, feel
Yeah.
free, and let's try to catch some questions. Are there any, I see one here. Are there any anti-human trafficking orgs that you guys love and support, especially ones that focus on policy? Do you know of any of those, Sarai?
Plenty in California. I know a couple that are national, so I'm happy to share. Yes, happy to share. There's plenty. And I didn't mention it explicitly, but, human trafficking and exploitation is, it sits right at the intersection of sexual violence and domestic
Yes,
violence.
of course.
Oftentimes, very grotesque, situation that is impacting and infecting the church.
Yeah.
And many of us really need to do a better job of educating ourselves and spotting it, and not just individuals that are being trafficked internationally, even though we know that that is a crisis, but it's happening right now in your downtown right now, on a
True.
block within a 3-mile radius of you right now. There are
True.
individuals that are being trafficked, and babies that are being trafficked and kidnapped and being raped into submission to be trafficked.
Yep. Yep. No, that is amazing. So guys, if you send in any DMs, I have to have Tim to get it, because this is technically his account. Again, I was saying that mine is Instagram would let me be great. Maybe they'll let me be great tomorrow. So please put your questions in right here. I think somebody can moderate, and we'll go back and check the live. So listen, you can go to upsettheworld.com/mentorship. The link is there. There's a lot of information on there. If you have any questions too that you want to ask off here, do you give training to organizations? You can send the DM also to mentor_Jew, and I will get them. Okay, I will get them. And then if you go on the site, there's plenty of places for you to sign up to get notified. But yes, send the questions to mentor_Jew if you're DMing, and I'll get them, and we'll make sure we reply to your questions. You can sign up now. We are going through this Meet Your Mentor week starting tonight and all next week. And so we'll have 2 more different mentors tomorrow night, 2 more different mentors every night. We'll have 2 more different mentors. And this is just a little blitz intro to say, look who's in there waiting for you. There's wealth of wisdom of people with their stories, their transparency. Sarai and Rory haven't even told you some of the stuff that they've been through. They haven't even they haven't even shared with you, like, Sarai is talking to you about all the things that she's been able to accomplish, and yet she didn't tell you all the things she ended up going through to get there. And Rory is a successful dad. He's married this second time to this amazing wife, Lynn, who they are both they are the rocks of Gibraltar. And yet he hadn't even got to how he got there to have a successful marriage. So, and how men, y'all can be great. We can all be great, but we got to do life together. That's just the bottom line. We got to do life together. What time nightly? So yeah, it is 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on mentor_Jew account. And every night until June 23rd. And so we'll have different mentors, and we'll make sure that we download these videos. We'll have these videos, we'll show clips, and we'll make sure that we post them on mentor_Jew's account, but 8 p.m. And yes, the IG is mentor_Jew. And so we'll get this. We'll make sure we have all the resources. We'll answer all your questions so that you have all the resources that you need. But I don't know if I see any more questions in here. I'll try to grab them. I know they're going so fast, but I just want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And we are going to close out the night. But I promise you, there is. We have a lot of things we're going to be talking about. Church hurt. A lot of this has to do with church hurt too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Church,
absolutely.
and it's just when people don't know, they do dumb things. You know what I mean? And they end up traumatizing people for the rest of their life.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But thank God for his healing grace and his mercy. And we are grateful that God usurps all the trauma, and he leads us to places that helps us heal.
Mm-hmm.
And he heals, and he uses people to heal us. So let's heal together, guys. Let's walk through life together. And I will let Timmy's Instagram go. But thank you, Rory. Thank you, Dr. Sarai. And I can't wait to see you guys some more and mentor you. So you guys join us tomorrow night at mentor_Jew. And we got 2 more mentors for you to meet. So we're at Meet Your Mentor Week. I love you guys. Have a great night, okay?
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.